Meta has just destroyed your business. Is that right?
Pretty much.
I booked this in. I thought I'm going to go and speak to Paul because he's the person to speak to with this stuff. And they destroyed your business. So I thought there's probably not much point coming, but you convinced me that there was. So I guess probably, given that this is called the Explore AI podcast, we should start off talking a little bit about what the fuck Meta's just done to WhatsApp. So do you want to give us a little bit of background in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Meta have announced that they are releasing WhatsApp AI conversational agents. The idea is that this is something that will live inside your phone. It'll be available to all businesses. They're releasing it for free. It will qualify, it will nurture, it will engage. The philosophy is Meta want everybody to have a conversational AI agent in their business within the next 12 months. So that's great for somebody who builds WhatsApp automations.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, how did they release that? Was this a sneaky, like, under the radar thing? Oh, by the way, we've been doing this for several years, and here you all go. Was it locked down? Did you know about it in advance?
Yeah, so I was given information. So there's a BSP we work with. So BSP is one of the service providers that Meta work with. I've got a very close partnership. So they actually told me about a month in advance that this was happening. Meta then held a massive event in London called Conversations, which is brilliant when you talk about conversational marketing. And yeah, they just announced it, but they announced it and said it's live now. Like, go into your phone, turn it on, here it is. Go start using it. So it was a very, Meta move. When Meta move, they move fast, and this has been in the pipeline for a very long time. Interestingly, in January this year, Meta actually announced that they were going to start banning AI models being used through WhatsApp, which for me was like the first indication where I was like, okay, they're working on something. Yeah. Like, when the whole world is moving towards AI, you don't ban AI unless you've got something in the pipeline that you're going to monetize. So I kind of had this suspicion that something was coming. So I've been ready for it. But actually, I think it's great. It's a great addition. I think it's going to really help a lot of businesses, but it needs to be done the right way.
So, like, we're a little bit geeky when it comes to this stuff. So there is always the possibility that we're going to massively oversimplify what it is that they've done, but I guess probably in layman's terms and for the listeners, how is that going to affect the businesses that you're working with? How's that going to affect the way that they sort of work with WhatsApp?
So what Meta are talking about now is they want the idea of agentic conversations. So they want an AI agent that doesn't just sit inside WhatsApp, it sits within the Meta ecosystem.
Right.
So the description they gave us was, imagine you see an ad on Instagram, you click the ad opens up WhatsApp. You start a conversation with this AI agent inside WhatsApp. You decide not to progress, and then 3 months later, you see organic content on Instagram, you comment on that content, the AI agent then picks up the conversation where it left off 3 months before, and it continues that conversation inside Instagram in their DMs.
So how are they having that memory? That's just linked to, like, your Meta profile, is it?
That's what they're saying at the moment. Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I need to clean up my Instagram.
So what they're saying right now is all the data will be pulled through from your website and then from your Meta business profile, which I think for the kind of standard bricks and mortar businesses, your butchers, your builders, and the big businesses, perfect. The ones that have this brand presence. I think any business that has a personal brand, my worry is what is it going to pull through?
Yeah.
And they haven't fully released the details yet. My understanding is there's going to be a premium version of this as well that's more customizable that you can pay for. So if you want they're selling this as every business will have this amazing agent. It will do all this amazing work for you. They've said it's not going to be an agent. It's going to be an employee. It's going to work like an employee. It's going to do all this amazing stuff. But if you want to customize it, you've got to pay to customize it.
You've got to dig into your pockets. And I think for the listeners and people watching this, that's the real key takeaway with this is you've got to be really careful when you're adopting this technology that you make sure that it is bespoke to your business and it's the best it possibly can be. Don't be rushing to bring in cheap stuff because the chances of you damaging your business is really rather high. The analogy that I use is, just pulling somebody off the street into your business and saying, there's the phone, answer the phone and deal with my queries, and they've got absolutely no idea what's going on whatsoever, as opposed to onboarding a proper employee, getting them up to scratch and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, imagine the extension of that now being, you pull someone off the street and you say to them, here's my Facebook profile, go and sell for me. Here's 10 years of what I've been writing on Facebook. Take it, it and use it to tell people more about me. I mean, I'll be really interested to see where Meta go with it. I think, even if there are protections that stop it picking out certain parts of your profile, I still think within the next, 12 to 18 months, the world is going to be full of generic AI agents that sound the same, that do the same thing, that they're not gonna show off your brand. And for me, that's more worrying than, my holiday photos from when I was 21.
I mean, that is, that's one of the key things that I talk about when I'm public speaking all the time, really, is that, AI should be used to make business easier, but also it should be used to make the customer journey more enjoyable, because humans are inherently lazy. They want a quick result. If you're searching for a new hairdresser, somebody to help you with your WhatsApp, whatever it is, you want that problem solved quickly. You don't necessarily care that you're dealing with an AI. You just want that process dealt with robustly, essentially.
Yeah, so, and I always talk about that. So Harvard Business Review did a survey 18 months ago, I think it was now, that said, businesses that can respond within 5 minutes and respond in a meaningful way. I always have this with my clients where they're like, well, we can respond in 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, but you respond with a generic email. That's like, thanks for your response. We'll get back to you later on. Yeah. Like, it's got to be a response that gets into their hand, that they see within 5 minutes. But yeah, if you can do it within 5 minutes, you're 100 times more likely to turn them into a sale. And I think that's increasing now. I think people don't even want to wait 5 minutes. No. They want an answer so much faster than they ever did before.
I've totally front-loaded one of my businesses, the survey and inspection business. We did have a lot of automation early on. Now it's human-loaded. The first 2 to 3 interactions are properly human-loaded before the AI and the automation comes in. All our traditional email marketing funnels, we've dialed it right back. They get an email going, hi, you did a thing on our website. People aren't reading their emails. Yes, they do read engaging emails. I mean, loads of us I'm on the email lists of millions, but I'm not on yours, incidentally.
You don't want to be. No. I don't do anything with it.
But I'm on lots of email lists, and people I genuinely want to hear from. But there's so much noise in the emails now that maybe only 1 in 10 really cuts through. So we've properly front-loaded it with a human now, and we're paying a lot of money and paid ads to get people to phone that business or to move towards that business. And I've just said to my team now, everybody has to be contacted within 3 minutes. That is it. Yeah. And whether that's through WhatsApp, whether that is on the phone, whatever, you try and get hold of that person within 3 minutes. We'll use the AI to do the heavy lifting later on, but it needs to be proper human conversations, because that's what people want. And in an age where everything is starting to move towards voice and interaction through mobile phones, because the hardware's there already, we really need to make sure as businesses we're ready to jump on it pretty damn quick. So
yeah, and I think the human thing's really important. One of the things that, again, one of the big takeaways for me, and it's great for me because I've always said this in my own business, is the human handoff. So the definition Meta used was that, this is an AI employee that will start a conversation and will progress the conversation so that the human can then get involved. Yeah. So that when you've got like the generic things that people need to know, the questions they're asking every single day, the things that need to be answered at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's where the AI agent takes over. And a lot of people, for me, straight away are going, oh yeah, but I don't like the idea of agents. And I'm like, but agents have existed for forever. They were just humans in call centers. All we're doing is replacing that with AI.
Something better.
Well, this is it. Something better, something faster, something that knows you, knows your business. I've just been testing my first AI conversational agent, and it's so good. There are things that it's saying, and I'm like, oh, actually, that's really smart. Yeah. I'm going to start saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually what I'm finding is when the AI then hands off to a human, it actually it's creating talking points at the moment. It's like, that was really clever. How did you do that? It has made me move towards you, etc., etc. One thing I think is probably we spent 10 minutes talking about the big changes that are coming, but surely there was something else you used to do. Surely you had a real job before you moved into this. I mean, how does one become a WhatsApp specialist? Because that's what Paul does, listeners. He helps sort of busy business owners integrate WhatsApp into their business. But how on earth did you stumble across this as a career path?
Well, I mean, I definitely did stumble across it. So prior to doing this, I was a commercial airline pilot. I flew for 10 years.
Do you know how you know someone's a pilot?
They'll tell you. Did you take that joke from me on stage?
No.
I use that quite regularly.
It is the aviation joke, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, you asked me this time. But yes, I used to be a pilot. Lost my job during 2020, during the COVID pandemic.
Is that when you crashed?
It was when I crashed, yeah. Yeah, and I tried to find something to do. Like, originally, I just wanted a sort of stopgap job. I had a great idea that I was going to set up a wellbeing business. You know, the thing that nobody decided to do during COVID. I was like, this is a really original, creative idea. And in order to kind of start what I thought was going to be the business I was going to run, I decided to send a load of Lego sets into the NHS to get attention, to get someone to pay attention to me, with a QR code on it that said, build a model, send me a picture on WhatsApp. And then I used that to turn it into conversations. And then rather than me then pursuing the NHS thing, I was actually offered a £3 million contract with the NHS that I said no to, which my wife was very happy about.
I can imagine. I bet that went down really well. Yeah. I've lost my job, and then I found this wonderful thing, and I've been offered a £3 million contract. Yeah, I can imagine how that would go down.
Yeah, really well. It was like the full roller coaster when I was like, guess what's just happened? I've been offered this thing. Wow, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But what did happen then is people started approaching me saying, how did you do that? Can you do that for me? So we started off very manual, just using WhatsApp to kind of have conversations. We used to have a quiz that would try and diagnose a business, find out where their weaknesses were, where we could potentially help them. And then we would just manually start WhatsApping them. And the more leads we got, the more we realised it was just impossible to try and actually speak to these people. Mm-hmm. So then we brought out our agency that would use automation to then speed up that process. And now AI sits at the centre of everything we do. So it's scaled really fast over the past couple of years. And now, as you know, I'm getting booked to speak on lots of stages talking about WhatsApp
and I think the real important thing there is that it is all about the conversations.
It is.
I mean, obviously, I've got the voice agent business as well, and you do the WhatsApp stuff, and there's a lot of synergy there because what we're trying to do is get people to have conversations with businesses, and that's ultimately what it's about, isn't it? At the end of the day,
it really is. And it was great for me that the event that Meta did last week was called Conversations. That was the whole point of it, and that this new product is a conversational AI agent. You know, it's not a bot. It's about conversations, and that's the thing. It's understanding who are these people that are coming into your business. What do they actually want? How can you help them? How can you serve them?
Yeah,
I actually believe, you know, when you hear a lot of people talking about niching now in business, and they're like, oh, you've got to be really niche. You've got to really hone down on one thing. I'm like, actually, I don't think you do anymore.
No.
I think you've got to have one clear message that brings people in, but then you can have multiple products and services, and your conversations are about understanding what somebody needs. You know, the days of like the catch-all menu have gone. I think people want choice. Yeah. I think choice is the luxury now, and conversations allow you to understand the choice and make the right recommendations as the business.
I'd like to interrupt the podcast just for a moment to tell you about a little something that I think will add real value to your week. Every Sunday at 5 o'clock, I can deliver directly to your inbox my newsletter. The AI space is just moving so quickly at the moment that this newsletter is full of my philosophies, my tips, my tricks, and all the latest trends. There's a link in the description below on how to sign up. Now let's get back to the pod. There is going to be business owners listening to this right now who are like, WhatsApp? Or we use SMS, or we use email, or, you know, we've spent, 15 minutes talking about WhatsApp, but why WhatsApp? Because, Paul is total transparency. Paul is one of our trusted contractors. He does stuff for one of my businesses, and I know why we've gone down that route. But why should business owners start to consider WhatsApp, and taking into account what is coming with the AI and all that kind of stuff with WhatsApp. But why WhatsApp? WhatsApp's for chatting to your mum, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Not mine. She's crap on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I mean, do you know, it's really interesting. It is where we have our best conversations. WhatsApp was voted last year as the world's most trusted social media platform. It's got 2 billion users worldwide. The vast majority of people are on WhatsApp. It's where we have those conversations. I did a talk yesterday, and I said to the audience, if you had to message somebody today to tell them something really important, like, what platform are you going to? When was the last time you emailed your partner and told them you loved them? Like, you don't, you WhatsApp them.
Be nobody there when you went home.
Yeah, exactly.
I sent you an email.
Yeah, exactly that. And one of the stats I really like to use. So the average response time to an email is 11 hours. The average response time to a WhatsApp message is 90 seconds.
Wow.
So if you want to get your message into somebody's hand, have it read, have it interacted with, WhatsApp is the place. Now, it's not the place for spam. It's not the place for just generic blasting your message out to people. I always say if you're going to use it like a spam cannon, then it's the wrong thing. I might copyright that. You'd get
banned pretty quick, wouldn't you, if you did that? If you tried to send thousands of messages at once.
Yeah, we've just had a client who's got banned for sending 4,000 messages in 24 hours.
Right, yeah,
that's banned very quickly.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Interestingly, the conversational AI that Meta are releasing is going to be inbound only. So it has to be user initiated to start the conversation with the business. Now, we branch out from that in our work. We do a lot of outbound as well. But, back to your question, like if this is the most trusted platform, if this is where people are hanging out, if this is where people are building those relationships, and you want to become your client's most trusted advisor, then meet them on the platform they're already on.
And that's what I say to my team. If somebody emails us back, continue the conversation on email.
Yeah.
If somebody is happy on the phone, meet them on the phone. If somebody is WhatsApping us, WhatsApp. And I quite often get, well, I emailed them. Yeah, but they've raised their hand and they've gone, no, I'm busy. This is how I want to be communicated with. And I have found that our best conversations do tend to happen on WhatsApp, and it's really, really powerful. There'll be people listening to this that perhaps haven't explored using WhatsApp, the AI that's going to come with WhatsApp, and that kind of direction within their business. If you're sitting there at the moment and you've got a database of phone numbers in your CRM, how do you go about integrating that into WhatsApp and starting to use WhatsApp? Is that something that you can do? Can you import those phone numbers and then just off you go?
You can. You've got to be very careful doing it. WhatsApp are really strict, and it's one of the reasons why it's such a great platform is because they're really strict and they will ban you really fast. My advice to all of my clients is if you've spoken to these people in the last 6 months, then absolutely go and start WhatsApping them. If they're more than 6 months old, hold off. There are other ways to get people into WhatsApp. It's all about incentive. So people want a reason, like they don't want you to just be contacting them out of the blue anymore. Consent's everything. So if one of the campaigns we really like to run is we'll email our list and say, look, we've got this special promotion right now. It's only available inside WhatsApp. Drop us this message. We'll send you the promotion. And then you can start that conversation. It's like the Lego model. We sent the Lego model. They sent us a picture back. That then allowed that conversation to happen. So you've got to be quite careful with making sure people know why they're coming into WhatsApp, why they're there, what you're going to be doing with their data. I think the statistic, and don't quote me on it, is if 10% of people report you as spam, then your account gets restricted straight away. So you've got to be so careful.
It is very similar, with email in that respect now. Yeah. There's a lot of our clients when I used to do a bit of business consultancy, which I don't do now, but they would have huge lists that they wanted to re-engage with. And I was like, you've got to re-engage with this sensibly, gently, with some form of offer that's going to get people to raise their hands. If you go straight in there and go, hi, we're working with somebody new, and he said I need to email my list twice a week, people are just gonna drop off, which I guess in some ways is good because you're qualifying them, aren't you?
Yeah.
How do people? So say you send out a WhatsApp campaign. How do people sort of unsubscribe from that? Is that a thing with WhatsApp?
Yeah, it is. So it's really easy. I mean, we always just set up a keyword so they can just send us a single word back and that will
Twat.
ultimately, I mean, I've been called worse in WhatsApp. They just send a simple word, stop, unsubscribe, whatever it may be. This is the great thing though now, and again with AI coming into this, because once upon a time it had to be really explicit. They have to send us the word stop, and we had to think of all the permutations of like, what if they spell it wrong, or what if they send us the word shop, and we then think they want to buy something from us, and actually they want to unsubscribe. Whereas the AI can be trained now to be way smarter, because the AI is all trained around intent. So what is the intent in the user? If we can see that a user is getting slightly frustrated and then sends us the word shop, the AI can reply and say, are you trying to unsubscribe?
Yeah.
Are you trying to opt out at this point? Rather than going, oh,
please don't leave me.
Buying intent, let's sell them something, and they get really annoyed. This is where I think AI is going to be really smart, because everything we used to build up until now with our automation workflows will be a series of buttons. You press a button, it'll track your intent, we'll tag them, we'll segment them, all that kind of good stuff. The AI now picks up the grey bits in the middle,
right,
where somebody has a question that's we can't answer with a single button press. Business is so much more flexible now than it ever was before, that you can't just categorize people into 3 or 4 different pools. There are offshots and there are differences, and
we've seen that in our own campaigns, that actually Paul is helping us reinvigorate that at the moment. And one of our earlier WhatsApp campaigns for the survey inspection business was very much yes, no, questions, etc. And you do find that there is a lot of people that sit within the middle ground of that, and they just sort of they'll either send you a huge, great big long response, which it needs a human to interpret, and if that human is only checking the WhatsApp account 2 times a day, that's not great, really. So if you've got that AI now that can jump in there and start interpreting those conversations and helping it up, and is it going to be able to hand off to a human or notify a human as part of that process?
Absolutely, that's baked into Meta's whole philosophy. Like Meta's whole philosophy is that this is a conversation starter and a qualifier. It will sell, you can get it to sell for you, but what Meta really want is that human handoff, which is great for me because I've always had that baked in there. When we very first started this business, my philosophy was just do everything in WhatsApp. Get rid of email, get rid of the phone, just let's do everything through WhatsApp. And actually now, the best results we've had is WhatsApp qualifying onto a sales call.
Yeah.
So push people that are the most qualified. The great thing now with the AI, and we were looking at this earlier on, weren't we? Like it will send you a report back and say, this is the person you are about to speak to. Yeah. This is what they've told us. This is what they need. This is what we're inferring. These are the buying signals. And these are the objections that they need to have handled before they can get on this call. Like this is what's stopping them making a decision.
Strategic, this might be outside the scope of this conversation, but why do you think Meta's doing this? Are they starting to get worried about, because obviously they've got huge revenue from Facebook and Instagram ads. We're both involved in the online space. We know people that are spending millions of pounds a month in some instances on Meta. Do you think Meta are now starting to think, hang on a minute, we've milked this as hard as we possibly can do, we need to look at the next level?
I think so. I think people are using social media slightly less. We're moving more into conversational platforms now. Like more people are sending Instagram DMs than ever before.
Right.
And I think that's where business is now happening. People are spending less time on their feed, and they're spending more times asking questions and trying to get answers. I think Google have got a lot to do with this, that Google have basically trained us to be a generation of question askers.
Yes.
We don't go out and seek information in the way we used to anymore. I think there's going to be a huge influx over the coming 5 years where, as humans, we no longer try and find information ourselves. We're going to try and verify information ourselves. So we're going to be going to platforms like, where we would have once gone to Google, we're now going to be going to AI. We're going to be going to Claude. We're going to be going to ChatGPT. We're going to be, I use Manus really heavily. We're going to be going to those platforms to seek answers. So I think, if you're going to be spending less time on the platforms where you could ultimately run ads, now you need to pivot somewhere else. Yeah. So where else are people going to be asking questions? Now, traditionally, WhatsApp isn't a question-based platform. It's a conversational based platform. But if you can then integrate some form of AI into that allows you to switch to the way we now do business, the way we work. If I can have a conversation with a business and say to them, look, this is my problem, this is my challenge, this is my budget, how can you help? That's where we are. So now monetizing that, I think that's the future.
Our smartest customers at the moment are in the consultancy side of the AI business and moving towards me, and they're saying, Matt, how do I show up in these searches? They're becoming aware of the fact that this is going to become absolutely critical. I mean, the statistics are mad. There's nearly 1 billion people using ChatGPT now. Only 5% of those are paying, and most of them, 60-70% of them, are just using it for search, just using it for backwards and forwards search. So, if the likes of ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, etc. are recommending a business, then you better make sure you've got a mechanism in there when that AI directs them to your business to interact with them, whether that's WhatsApp, a voice agent, whatever it might be. You need to make sure you're there. And it becomes even more important if you're paying for that lead to move towards you.
Well, this is it. So, and Meta have now said as well that businesses are going to become searchable via WhatsApp. So you're going to have your Meta business profile with your business WhatsApp connected to it. You're going to be able to go into the search bar in WhatsApp and just type the name of the business. And either you will show up or you won't. Now, what I'm going to be interested to see is if the business doesn't show up, if WhatsApp will then make a recommendation, which I think will be the smart next step.
That's the way it will go, and then we tie back to how do you make your business visible to the AI mind. And for the listeners, AI works on authority and entities. Essentially, the more authority you're perceived to have in a particular field, the more likely you are to be recommended by the AI. Hence us doing these podcasts and things like that, because there probably isn't very many I don't know of any other WhatsApp specialists in the country. And, at the end of the day, if you're up there and you're on the stages and you're on the podcast, you're going to be the one that the AI recommends.
Yeah,
and that's what people need to be thinking about now. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a question for you then. We've talked about client work, but what are you building to make your life easier? Now, I don't want you to give all your secrets away, obviously. You can go high level, you can go as detailed as you want, but I would be interested to know what you're building to make your life easier in your business at the moment. What are you seeing that you're thinking, that could save me a lot of time?
So interestingly for me, if I think about my process, what it used to be when I very first started this, so I would have, I'd meet with a client, whether it be in person or whether it be online. I'd make all my notes. I would then go to a whiteboard and I'd start scribbling out doodles of what I think their WhatsApp flow could look like, how it's going to work. Then I'd go into the software and I'd start building it out. That is all automated now. I don't do any of it. So my call gets recorded. The transcript then is automatically uploaded into an AI platform that will then break down what I need from the client, what I need. I've also built myself my own, I've vibe coded my own little internal software platform now that will just do it all for me. So I can go in there and I can see the call transcript and I can see where it's processed it, and it understands my IP. So it can come back and say, well, based on your call with your client, we would recommend you build these 3 WhatsApp flows. It will then email the client with the proposal of what we think we're going to build and the assets I need from the client. It will track the assets when the assets come back from the client. And now I'm just working on it automatically creating the JSON files for me that I can then upload. They're not great yet. Yeah. They're getting there. Yeah. But what it does is it gives me all the branching and the workflows, and sometimes it'll do something and I'll look at it and I'll be like, wow, that's smart. I didn't realise we do
almost exactly the same with the voice agents, with the low-key voice agents. We've built our own, vibe coded our own platform, again, to have that conversation, and there's a form that the client fills in to get the basic, what do you want your agent to be called, what type of business you're in, what's your legal name, all the stuff you might forget on a phone call, all that goes into there, and we do exactly the same. It enables us to get the JSON out of the back of it, and like you say, it'll get you so far. Yeah. And then the smart move then becomes, well, then have a conversation with it. So you've produced this, but why did you produce it this way? And what about this? That's right. I don't know why I've done it like that. Let's change these things a little bit. And as the models get more and more powerful, Claude's just brought out their Fable model. It means that prompting part of it is getting much more simplistic now. Yeah, and what mine now does, now that we're moving to the AI agent, is it will actually then create the AI agent. So I don't even need the JSON file now because it will create the AI agent. And it will then test it. So it will then understand from the call I had with the client who their best
case scenarios are for who they want to speak to, but also who are the worst. Who are the people that could just go in there and try and break their AI agent, could try and hack it, could try and, do stupid things, the competitor scenarios who are just in there to try and figure out, who this person is and what they're selling. And it will run 50 scenarios at a time, testing the AI agent and trying to break it. And then it will come back with suggestions for what needs improving, where the code needs tightening up, where the handoff needs to be slightly cleaner or slightly better. And even really simple things like it will come back and say, I had one this morning, it came back and said to me, it told me it was handing off and it didn't hand off.
Yeah.
That's such an important part for me with the human thing. We've got to make sure that we're not programming AI to be all singing, all dancing when it's not. We need to be really transparent about what it does and what it doesn't do. So if it's going to say it's going to hand off, it's got to hand off.
100%. And that's where QA, the quality assurance side of stuff is so important. We're finding that with the voice agents. We've just recently built a tool. So what we used to do is we would pull a selection of call transcripts and then we would compare them to the base prompt and basically say, based on these conversations, what tweaks could we make to improve the prompt? And we use various different models and tools for that. It doesn't really matter. But literally in the last 24 hours, I've now automated that. So every day it's pulling the client's call transcripts, it's putting them through our own secure process, it's assessing those and it's going, actually, we need to tweak this, we need to change that, and it's that. Not only is going to solve so much time, but it's also going to make the customer experience much, much better and make them more sticky at the end of the day. We want good clients that are going to stay with us into the future. So the better service that we can give to them, the best, really.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say, when you said then about the security thing, that's a really interesting point with all of this as well, isn't it? Of when these conversations are coming in, what are people saying? Where is that data being held? It's an interesting question that was posed to Meta last week that they didn't give a very clear answer to, if you're using these AI agents and you're using my Facebook profile to train those agents, is that just my profile that's training them? Are you training my competitors on my IP that I may be talking about on my own profile? Which is where I think we go into like the why products and services like we both offer is really important, because when you work with somebody who understands the technology and understands the system, you're not using something out of the box. You've got that extra level of protection.
I mean, you really have to think about where you're placing your client's data, essentially. And they're the two big challenges that everybody talks about at the moment. It's for AI specifically, it's computing power. They're just going to have to keep building and building and building. So, Jensen's in a good game there within NVIDIA. That's only ever going to hockey stick up. And the other hardware manufacturers as well, and building out the data centers and things like that, forgetting about environmental impacts, because that's very much a conversation for another day. And the other one is security. The people that are making the first moves at the moment, and they are getting an advantage, do tend to be the smaller businesses who arguably, potentially, care a lot less about data security. They just want to maximise revenue quite often, and I have to be very careful about who we take on in our business for that exact reason. It's huge.
I do a lot of work in the education industry with private schools in particular, and we are drip feeding AI in with some very, very tight restrictions. We're looking more, around FAQ type content than actual conversational bots that are going to try and qualify and all that kind of stuff, because we just don't know yet. There's too much known, but they are certainly pushing me to understand it more than ever before.
Yeah, 100%. I've got kind of one more question for you, Paul. It's been really good to have a chat with you today. I find this stuff super interesting and super exciting, just to see how you can develop and move a business forwards just through having decent conversations with people. But I mean, looking ahead into the future, what are you seeing at the moment that's really exciting you and the potential, either for your customers or just for your own business? We might have covered it already, but
I think the agentic conversations now, I think this is where it's going. If you think about how conversations work human to human, once upon a time, if I met someone in the street and had a conversation with them and then I saw them 3 days later, I'm going to continue the conversation we had, or I'm going to at least acknowledge that we know each other and we've met each other.
Yeah.
If you think about AI right now, or conversational platforms in general, like, Instagram sits on its own, you'll have a conversation on Instagram, then someone will move to WhatsApp, you'll almost have the exact same conversation over on WhatsApp. the idea of these agentic conversations now, where conversation will move from platform to platform to platform, I think that's the bit that really excites me, because then you can tailor the content and tailor the conversation for the platform rather than it being too disjointed.
Do you know what's really interesting about that is that Apple has just released at a conference the fact that they are looking at creating an AI level above their OS, which will mean that you as a consumer just interact with that and it goes off and deals with WhatsApp, Slack, etc., etc., etc. That's the way it's going. Google and Apple are going to win this game ultimately, one way or another, because they've got the hardware that's in everybody's pocket. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Paul, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.